So number 4, 5, and 6, same kind of thing. I'm going to have fractions, and so I'm going to get rid of the fractions by multiplying by my common denominator. This time we have binomials up on top, so we get to do a lot more FOILing. And again, we have to check for our restrictions. So our restrictions on this one, I can't have -1 on the bottom of the first fraction, and I can't have a +3 on the bottom of that second fraction, or I'd have zeros down in the bottom of my fractions. So this time my common denominator is going to be u plus 1 and u minus 3. So I'm going to take the u minus 1 on the top of the first fraction times, this will cancel this, the u minus 3. Here, I'm going to take my u plus 1. This time the u minus 3 cancels, so I'm going to have to multiply that by u plus 1. Plus 1. And the 1 doesn't have a fraction to cancel, so I've got to use them both, u plus 1 and u minus 3. So, FOILing out the u minus 1 times the u minus 3. I'm going to have u squared, -3u plus -1u is -4u, and then -1 times -3 is a +3. FOILing out that one, I'm going to have u squared, 1u plus 1u is 2u in the middle, and then 1 times 1 is 1. Here I'm going to FOIL that out, I'm going to have u squared, I'm going to have a -3 plus 1, which is -2u in the middle, and then 1 times -3 is -3. I would have to multiply it by what's in front, but in this case there's a 1 in front, so it's going to just stay u squared minus 2u minus 3. So u squared minus 4u plus 3 equals u squared plus 2u plus 1 plus u squared minus 2u minus 3. Again, I know I have to set it equal to 0. Since I have 2u squareds over here and only 1 here, I'm going to move these over. So I'm going to minus my u squared plus my 4u and minus my 3. If you want to combine your like terms first and then move them, that's all right too. So, u squared minus u squared and a plus another u squared going to give me u squared when I combine all my u squareds. I got 2u minus 2u. Again, those are going to cancel, so I get just that plus 4u. I have 1 minus 3 minus 3, so -6 plus 1 would be -5. So I get u squared plus 4u minus 5 when I combine all my like terms. Again, I have to solve by factoring. So u and u, since the end is negative, a plus and a minus. Factors of 5, I want a +4, so I'd have to have a +5 and a -1. So if u plus 5 equals 0, I'm going to get a -5 answer. And if u minus 1 equals 0, I get a +1 answer. Checking my restrictions, I didn't get either of those. So both of those should be solutions. So really long. Just take your time. Number 5 then, if I check my restrictions first, my restrictions would be -4 and -2. My common denominator is going to be v plus 2 and v plus 4. So on my first fraction, I'm going to take the v minus 1 times what?
V plus 4.
The v plus 4, exactly. The v plus 2 would cancel out, so I just have the v plus 4. On my v plus 2, I'm going to multiply that one by the v plus 2. The v plus 4 would have canceled out, and I'm trying to write that. v plus 2. And then my minus 1, I have to multiply by both the v plus 2 and the v plus 4, since I don't have a fraction to cancel either of them out. So foiling that first one out, what would I get when I multiply that all out?
V squared plus 3v minus 4.
V squared plus 3v minus 4. On the other side, if I multiply v plus 2 times v plus 2, I get
V squared plus 4v plus 4.
exactly v squared plus 4v plus 4. And this one, FOIL that out first, then multiply by your negative 1. So if I FOIL that out first, I would get what?
V squared plus 6v plus 8.
V squared plus 6v plus 8. And then I have to multiply them each by negative 1. So I'm going to get a negative v squared, a minus 6v, and a minus 8, right? So I notice on this one that I have a v squared and a minus v squared that's going to cancel each other out. So I'm going to move everything over here on my left side because that's where my v squared is going to stay positive. So v squared plus 3v minus 4, I'm going to minus my 4v, minus that 4, add my 6v, and add my 8, and then I'll have everything over on the left side. So if I combine all my like terms, what am I going to get there?
V squared plus 5v.
5v, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And everything else canceled out. All right. I didn't do it, but I'll take your word for it. V squared plus 5v. If I have that and I want to factor it, what's the first thing I should do to factor that? It's not going to be a foiling one, right? Because it doesn't have the end number. I'm going to take out my greatest common factor. My greatest common factor is just a v. So I'm going to make this v times v plus 5. So either the v is just going to equal 0, I don't have to do much to solve that, or the v plus 5 equals 0, which gives me a minus 5, right? Look at my restrictions, I don't have either of those, so 0 and negative 5 are going to be my two solutions. So number 6, we're solving that one for y. First of all, if I pick out my restrictions would be
3 and 7.
3 and 7. My common denominator, y minus 3 and y minus 7. So I'm going to take the y minus 1 times
Y
the y minus 7. I'm going to take the y plus 5 times
minus 3.
the y minus 3. And I'm going to take my positive 1 times both of them, y minus 3 and y minus 7. And then I get to do a bunch of foiling. So, first one there, if I multiply that out, I would get
Y squared minus 8y plus 7.
y squared minus 8y plus 7. The second one, if I FOIL that one out,
Y squared plus 2y minus 15.
y squared plus 2y minus 15. And if I FOIL this part out, I'm going to get y squared minus 10y plus 21. I'm making Gavin do all the work. I'm going to multiply it by a plus 1, so that's not going to change much. Y squared minus 10y plus 21. All right, so I've got 2y squareds over here, which means I'm going to move that stuff over to the other side. I'm going to minus my y squared, add my 8y, and minus my 7. So if I combine my like terms, I'm going to get
Y squared minus 1.
y squared minus 1. And hopefully you recognize that as the difference of squares. How does that factor? Y plus 1 and y minus 1, and that means my two answers would be negative 1 and 1. Now look, doesn't match either of my restrictions, so those should be all right.